I'm Jamie Lynn Spears.
And I'm Roslyn Kind.
And you're listening to
You Might Know Her From
With Ann and Damian.
The gag is, it's just us.
It's just us, babies. Welcome back. Thank you for being with us. As you know, look, SAG-AFTRA, the strike is quote unquote over, right? So we have been doing this thing where Damian and I are chatting with you, giving you new material because SAG-AFTRA has been on strike. Well, the strike is over. However, there's a tentative deal. We're hoping that by December 5th, it gets ratified if that is the right thing for all of the members. If, you know, the deal is very specific. So we're hoping for the best for everybody. But the good news is the actors can go back to work, and we have been sending out our asks, folks. We are back in business, baby.
As CC Penestein said,
Penestein.
Finally. We're so happy to be sending those asks out. We have some things brewing, and we are just, jumping for joy.
So welcome back to the show. If you are familiar with the show, you know that Damian and I, best friends, queer darlings, are here every week, and we have been for 5 seasons, where we shoot the shit with each other, talk about the comings and goings of our lives and our bodies and pop culture, and interview an actress each episode. Because of the strike, we've been figuring it out. But guess what? We have one last very special episode for you right here that we had talked about, and hopefully you got your questions in, because we had told you that for the very first time on this show, Damian and I were going to answer audience questions.
For the first time, and You Might Know Her From history, we took listener questions, and we're going to answer them for you today.
I just want to re-reference Roslyn Kind, who you've been texting me about all week. You know, as I mentioned last...
Are you into it? You didn't say. I sent you one of her songs.
Yeah. No, I'm into it. And I feel like...
She
calls her sissy. What does she call her in the book? She just
To be clear, Roslyn Kind is related to Richard Kind, yes. But most famously, she is the half-sister of...
Barbra Streisand.
And I did not know who she was until like a week ago when I started listening to Barbara's autobiography. Autobiography, or is it a memoir?
Yeah, both. I don't know. I actually don't know the difference. I feel like memoir always seems like there's lies. Like when you tell me when you tell me that you wrote an autobiography, I'm like, somebody fact checked this. And when it's a memoir, I'm like, these are stories.
Yeah, I think that's actually maybe is right. Augustin Burroughs, David Sedaris, they write memoirs.
Right.
Movie stars, they write autobiographies.
Which means it was written by somebody else. But here's the great thing about, I think we already waxed poetic about Britney's book, which I think really did, as you said, I finished it, and Michelle Williams was excellent, transcendent, as you said. I do agree with that. She really was giving such specificity, but it did sound like it was written in Britney's voice.
But Britney's book is The Woman in Me. But there was a point where she said, like, she uses the word innocuous, and I was like, that wasn't her word.
It doesn't seem right.
But
yeah.
I felt like mostly, even, it was like, felt really smart, but also felt like completely Britney. And that's not a slight towards her. It just felt like...
Yeah, when she was like Michelle Williams saying, like, I just feel like I'm sassy and I've lost my sassiness. I was like, remember that sassy was a word that was used in the mid-2000s, and I feel like I do not use it anymore.
Well, no, I don't know. I think of it as a coded way of saying, oh, sorry if you can hear the intern where she's slowly shutting down in the background.
She has passed.
Sassy is a coded word for saying faggot.
What?
Completely.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. I've never called a man sassy in my entire life.
Well, let me just tell you as a
That's
man
because I'm not homophobic. I'm gay.
As a man who has been labeled sassy by people, I'll tell you that it's a coded way of saying faggot, basically, or gay.
Thank you for that.
What is a coded way of saying, like, that woman is a lesbian, or DE? I'm saying D. I'm saying the D word with a Y at the end of it.
I don't know. I was going to say strong, but that doesn't seem funny. You know, it's like, I don't think that's funny.
Yeah, like sassy. Like
sassy is like, you think that it has somebody says it and they think it's a good connotation, but we all know what it means.
Yeah.
I don't know what is the equivalent for a lesbian. I'm not sure. I'm going to think on that.
It's like people are certainly
strong-willed.
Interesting. But I still think that
it's not. It's not the same. It's not the same.
People are obviously homophobic towards women, but it is different.
Yeah. Now you're making me question sassy at all. I'm thinking back on all of my linguistic choices over the years. Sassy was definitely a thing that people were like, oh, she's so sassy in the 90s and early 2000s. I think that
sassy is still a word. Mostly, I think it's a way that people talk about black women or also gay men.
Yes, that's true. And there's a lot. Yes, and there's a lot of gay men co-opting black female culture in general.
Oh, interesting. So like the sassy translation of sassy to like the projection of sassiness onto a man is almost like, is it co-opting something? I don't know. The essence. I don't know.
I feel like you've taught me something today, and I feel
it's that bourbon. It's that one short glass of bourbon, and this blew your mind. Well, welcome back, sassy folks. Do you know Roslyn Kind? She is also a singer in her own right. I would say. Tell me if this is fair, and I don't want. This is with all due respect to Judy Garland. I would say that she's kind of Lorna Luft adjacent.
I love you for bringing this up because that's literally where I was going. Here's the thing. The Barbra Streisand book, as I said last episode, I've had a hard...
I'm sorry. We're both listening to the audiobook. It is 48 hours long.
I think last episode when, Britney Spears's was 5 hours. And when I was thinking, I knew that Barbara's was significantly longer. And I was like, it's 15 hours. And I was like, no, it's 50. I had no concept that it was like... significantly longer than Britney's book. I'm 25% of the way through the book, and I'm worried that I'm moving too quickly because I cannot get enough. Here's the thing. Barbra Streisand is a storyteller. She is so intimate and so real. The story is so intimate. I feel like it sounds like Barbra is telling you the story on a couch. It sounds like she's talking to you as if she's her best friend. Here's the thing I love about her. She loves baked potatoes. Like
you.
Me! I felt such kinship with her throughout this book. And I'm trying to slow down now because it's honestly moving too quickly. Right now, I'm in the middle of her talking about William Wyler and the filming of Funny Girl. And the best thing about Barbra Streisand is she has always been exactly who she is. And I love a person like that.
Well, what I love about her, and I feel simpatico with her, is that one of the things that she says is she loves a man's teeth. And if you know me, the things that I love about a man are his hands, his penis, and his mouth.
Okay,
More than anything. That's the number one.
I know the penis and the teeth for sure. The hands, have you talked to me about the hands?
I
know that people often think that hand size corresponds to...
No, it's not even that. I don't even know that
I've
I
never
care
heard
about
you
a man's hands.
Tell me.
It's just like if a man has nice hands or like big burly hands, then you notice. So
do you like if they're rough or do you like if they're soft? Do you like an in between?
I don't care.
What if you feel like this person has never worked a day in their life? That's how soft their hands are. Do you like that?
I understand the sentiment, but it feels like femphobic. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Okay, I hear that.
I feel like it's a way that it's, again, a coded way that a woman likes to say a man is gay.
I'm sorry, and I hear that, and I appreciate that.
But I
come from farm people who have big, burly fingers, listen, gay and straight, male and female. So
I'm a blue-collar boy who also knows what it's like to have people tell you that your hands are very soft, and then it's like a weird diss to say that either you don't work hard or that you are a faggot.
Okay, so you know what? I feel like you're right. You're right.
But I'm retracting that I care about hands. I will say that the thing that I care most about, for real, is mouths, like teeth, lips, just like a nice
You don't
mouth.
like a mealy mouth. What if they have great teeth but a mealy mouth? Has that ever existed?
What is a mealy
Small,
mouth?
thin, top lips? Yeah,
you're out. I'm sorry, lips are very important.
Who has the best lips?
I'll tell you the person that came first comes to mind. I don't know that they're the best, but I'm going to tell you the person. Val Kilmer.
What? Okay, hold on. You're caving with embarrassment. Okay,
wait. Really good.
Does he have a really good top? He has a really good top.
He has like that. What are they?
How?
A former friend used to call it her Cupid's bow. That like the heart part of your lips.
Oh, I see it. Oh, they're beautiful.
He has like pillowy, pouty lips. Yeah, I think James Franco has nice lips. Michael B. Jordan has nice lips.
Okay.
Thin lips.
It's hard for you.
Small mouth are hard for me.
Oh, I do see that. He does indeed have the Cupid's bow. Beautiful.
Yeah, I really like a nice teeth, nice lips. Very important to me. So Barbra Streisand, really losing the plot here. Barbra Streisand says,
Streisand, very important, yeah.
Barbra says that one of the reasons she loves a man's teeth, and that's one of the reasons that she's hot for Jim Brolin.
Here's the thing that I love. Barbra, over the course of the 25% of the book that I have read so far, listened to, I know. This is like when I get caught being like, I read this thing, and someone's like, you mean that TikTok? And you're like, oh, Jesus Christ. I promise I'm literate. I promise. The thing I love about Barbra in this book is that at the beginning of it, she says, it's very hard to make me laugh. My husband does not make me laugh. Then throughout the book, she lists every single person that has ever made her laugh, including her dresser, Charlie Chaplin, Julie Stein, and her first husband, Elliot Gould. But I was like, babe, you opened with the fact that your husband does not make you laugh. And I was like, she's more interested in the teeth. She is very happy with what Jim Brolin brings to the table, which is sex and quietude.
Do you think that she lets Jim Brolin spit in her mouth?
Oh, you know what? I think that she is. Barbra Streisand does fuck. She fucks hard,
sensual.
And she is so sensual. I'm interested in what her power dynamic is, because I feel like what's so interesting is she into spitting? I don't know. I think that she is so into her own. Stepping into her own power in her real life that I'm interested in whether or not
she's like super submissive in bed.
Yes, like what that looks like, because sometimes that is the hotness that exists where you're like, this is somewhere where I get to do something different
completely than
my day-to-day life.
I can relate. Barbra might need someone to hold her by both sides of her head and say, shut the fuck up.
Right, and you're like, I've never been more attracted to you in my life.
Wait, okay, so I want to backpedal for a minute though and say Roslyn Kind.
Let's get back to Lorna Luft. Let's get back to Lorna Luft.
Adjacent to Lorna Luft.
Yes. Okay. So thank you. I got sidetracked, but I was thinking about that because I got to the part where she talked about Judy, and I was washing dishes, and I had a holy moment where I was like, here's the part where she talks about the recording of the Judy Garland show. I have to take this all in because it was so spectacular and stunning. Liza always said that Lorna was the voice in the family, which I think is somewhat accurate. Lorna does have a big voice, brassy voice, a ton of power. And while Liza has a ton of power as well, she has a break that happens. And Liza was always more of the actress. I think that's where Lorna falls slightly short.
And Liza could dance also.
Yeah, that's true. And I think Lorna can move. We've seen it in Grease too. But I think Roslyn Kind, the Lorna conversation, I think, is apropos, because I think Roslyn is a totally solid singer, but sometimes...
And has Barbara-isms in her vocals.
Yes.
Like, even, like, the ways in which... I know that somebody who knows how to talk about, like, vocals has a word for this, but, like, the ways in which that she sort of, like... Her voice is so singular, and, like, the fluidness of her... like word shape is cool and interesting, and is what makes her Barbara's voice so unique. But Roslyn has some of that, which is interesting. Like, right. I don't know if it's learned or it might just be like familial. You know, it might be like the way they spoke in the house. Exactly, blood harmony. I love a stacked sister harmony band. Does she talk about singing her sister or her sister's career, or singing with her sister?
Not so far. Not in the first 25%. I'm wondering if it gets there.
I wonder if it doesn't, though, because Roslyn to me is not a name the way that Lorna is, but also Barbra is Barbra, and this is her sister, opposed to like Judy then gave birth to both Liza and Lorna, who like in another family could have been a great talent, right. You know?
So true.
Oh, we love Lorna. We're a Lorna fan.
We love Lorna, and fans. I wish... Lorna's book is excellent, by the way. Me and My Shadows, great book, turned into a miniseries on ABC starring the one and only Tammy Blanchard and Judy Davis.
So good.
But I wish Liza would write the book, because I would be interested to see what she said. But, I just have to say, sometimes there is a singular thing that someone possesses that is that little piece of magic, and I think that Barbra has it. I think Liza has it. If Lorna ever decides to say yes to this podcast, I'll say she has it too. But the books have really, I feel like Brittany into Barbra has given me a little bit of a new lease on life this fall, because as I said, I've been having a hard time reading, and I feel like I'm now back on the audiobook train, and I'm hoping that will get me back in the text heavy train of being able to open a physical book, which I actually prefer. But when it comes to celebrity memoir, there's nothing like letting somebody read it to you while you're on the train. It's incredible.
So question for you. I had all these Audible credits, so I like bought a bunch of books to get rid of them, because I was like, I didn't realize that I still had an account, and I was like, let me buy these books and cancel this. I bought Jada Pinkett's book.
Okay.
And then I was like, oh, it's 9 hours long. I'm never listening to this. If I gift this to you, will you listen to it after Barbara's?
1,000%, because I love Jada. I do love Jada, and I'm very intrigued. And I do have Will's book, which I haven't read either. I similarly had a bunch of credits on Libro FM from the pandemic when I was like, let me donate to a local bookstore or something. And then I was like, oh, I never use these. But celebrity autobiography is the way to go.
Does Will read his own?
Yeah. And I haven't listened to it yet. And I didn't know that I was that interested, but there's been a lot of newsworthy items related to him recently. And I am interested in both he and Jada's marriage. I'm into...
Weren't we just reading about like
Jada's relationship with Tupac and her early career set it off as extremely important to me. I have a lot of love for her. I feel like the way they raise their kids feels Scientology adjacent, which I'm less into.
Yeah, they're like very rich Hollywood kids.
But I feel like in another world, I'd be like, oh, maybe they're queer and pan and open and interesting. But I feel like they're just like rich psychopaths. So maybe I'm wrong about that. But I like the idea that they were like, we have an open marriage. It's rooted in mutual respect, and we do for each other, and we also do for ourselves. And I was kind of into that because I feel like they're the first celebrity couple that has, although Shirley MacLaine did say that she had an open relationship with her husband, and I'm sure lots of celebrities have over the years, but I feel like Will Smith and Jada Pinkett were the first like A-listers to come forward and say like, okay, you've been talking about us for years and whether or not we're swingers or whether we're both bi or pan or whatever, and there's been a lot of infidelity, but like the fact is, we basically have an open marriage, and it's rooted in mutual respect.
But then she was like, I'm going to sue whoever's saying that Will and Dwayne Martin have fucked.
Well, like, that's why I feel like this is essentially homophobic at the end. So I feel I am invested in...
She said, Will is sassy. And with soft hands.
Okay, but Jada Pinkett Smith has whatever the equivalent is on the other side that we couldn't find a word for.
Woman,
She's a strong... Thank you for that callback. And that's why I've always loved her.
Yeah, I'm going to think about what the code word is. And listeners, if you're listening and you have a thought, but not if you're not a queer person.
Yeah, please do not chime in because we don't need your opinion, honestly. We love you, but we don't need your opinion.
Yeah, because I feel like the words like strong and difficult like are just sort of like misogynistic language. They're not necessarily like
specific,
lesbian or queer woman specific. Yeah, I'm going to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
So... without further ado,
let's get into it.
So we have some questions. Do you want me to just randomly pull a question? I have some that are like anonymous, and then I have some that are sent from specific listeners. And
I have one anonymous one that I'd like to start with because it is somewhat innocuous, as Britney Spears might say. And I was shocked by this because you taught me about the joy of an anonymous question on Instagram.
You know I love it.
I wasn't familiar with it, but I love it. And the first anonymous question I received, Damian, was, what you doing? And I thought, is this from the app?
Oh, yeah, because the app will sometimes send you anonymous questions.
And then I was like, no, I think this is a person that decided to write, what you doing? So I didn't respond.
We're recording the podcast.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're recording the podcast. We're here.
Okay, I'll start with a similar...
I'm drinking a bourbon neat because there's no more ice. And Damian and I are having a great day. We went to MoMA earlier.
Yeah.
We had a very nice New York afternoon. And now we're recording with Ronnie, who has a ball that she's playing with. And the question remains whether or not we're going to go out later or stay in. So that's what we're doing.
I have a similar innocuous one that I'll go with.
Okay.
Do you guys ever think about the fact that Lou Gehrig died of Lou Gehrig's disease?
Constantly. Because Lou Gehrig's disease is ALS. Is that right?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure. I hope that I'm not shooting myself in the foot with this. But thank you, listener, for this question. Because yes, I do. And like, what a horror. I think about diseases all the time. Thank you so much for this. What a horror to die of a disease that has no name, such that it will be eventually named after you. Anne Rodeman disease. You know, where you're like,
the disease where you have a strong opinion about something, but you're easily swayed when the person is nice.
That is my disease. I count myself as open in that way. I think of myself as open-minded.
Just like Will and Jada.
Yes. Ronnie.
She co-signs it.
Yes. I don't know. I think the ball fell under me. Oh, yeah, there you go. Good girl. Okay, Yes, I do think about that. But can you fact check me? Is ALS Lou Gehrig's disease? I think that is what it is. Because I feel like, here's the thing. ALS and that ice bucket challenge, that was related to ALS, right?
Oh, the bucket challenge, yeah.
That was rough for me.
If you did the ALS water bucket challenge, I want you to send me a message and ask and tell me who you did it with. If you did it with an ex, I really want to know.
Did you do it? Nobody. Okay, here's
the thing.
Nobody ever challenged me, and it never touched me.
I think maybe. Oh yeah, it's ALS. Great job.
Thank you.
I think that maybe my sister challenged me, but like she did it so late in the game.
You fucked her over. You were like,
I was like, the trend is over. It's like embarrassing to do it now.
You were like, you are a loser.
Yeah, it was too late in the game, Vanessa.
It's so rude. Sometimes you just have to do it. Sometimes you have to do things like that, even when you're like, okay, this person doesn't understand how the internet works. I think people look at me and say, like, she doesn't know how the internet works. So I feel like now I'm more open to people being like, oh, that's sweet. That's sweet. If you ask me to do the ALS challenge, I'll do it now.
I wanted to do it because I thought I would be hilarious. Okay, we're challenging each other now. If you guys send us some money to do it, we'll send the donation to ALS.
Gladly.
Okay, I'm going to do the next question as well because I'm into it. Okay, this is a good one.
Okay.
Who would you pick to interview the two of you?
Oh.
We should think of a couple people.
What a good
You tell me
question.
3 people.
Okay.
Like say we were getting interviewed somewhere and they were like, who do you want us to try to get as the moderator?
This is such a good question. I'm actually really okay.
Wait, I have one, two. I have a few. I wonder if we're any of the same.
My first thought was Z-Way, and I was like, that seems wrong. That seems like that we'll shoot ourselves in the foot there.
Completely.
But I felt like my first, like, the other two people that I thought of, I don't actually think I like anymore because I grew up really listening to Terry Gross and Fresh Air. And I loved that show, and I still will choose to listen to it from time to time. But I actually find Terry Gross's questions to be irritating at this point in my life. But Terry Gross was so important to me as a young person, and that was how I first started. My parents were NPR listeners, and so when they would drive me to school in the mornings, I constantly listened to Fresh Air. I remember an interview where Terry Gross was talking about Divine and Pink Flamingos. And I don't know if the interview was with John Waters or whatever, but it was like they were driving me to first grade. And this was like the memory
I love.
And so I feel like I grew up loving Terry Gross, but I feel like in hindsight, her interview with Lizzo was pretty embarrassing and disappointing. Her love of Louis C.K. has been extremely disappointing to me. So I feel like the older I've gotten, the less I've gotten into Terry Gross. But I really did grow up like a child of Terry Gross. And the other person that I feel like does good celebrity interviews these days is Howard Stern, and I'm kind of ashamed to say it.
Interesting. I see that for sure.
I feel like he was such a nightmare from the 90s where he asked horrible questions of women, where I was sort of like, I watched E! Late at night, and so it was always like, he's asking Anna Nicole Smith to get on a scale, and I was like, fuck this person. I hated him, but I was also titillated and intrigued.
Yeah, he has like a fearlessness that most people don't have.
Yeah, so I don't know that I feel good about either of those answers, but those were people that came to mind, and I'm going to keep thinking, so I want to hear your responses.
Okay, I'm not going to qualify mine, although I appreciate that you did, but
I'm sorry.
No, I just feel like some of mine are like, two of mine have like, there's like, you know, maybe emotion behind them or feelings about whether they feel good or not. And then one of them is a friend, and then one of them is not a friend, but I'll just say them. So first, I'll just list them.
Okay.
I'm nervous.
I'm so excited. I feel very excited to hear the answer.
Andy Cohen, I think we'd have a ball.
Okay, yeah.
I think he's like not Howard Stern at all, but I feel like it's like
whoever's on his team crafting those questions, I feel like does the right sort of research.
It's like fun. It doesn't feel like drama, but it also isn't like buttoned up.
Yeah.
Julie Klausner, because I feel like we have like simpatico interests, so I feel like she would understand what we are about if she agreed to do the interview.
Yeah. And can I say this on the air that like that is part of our early friendship?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, of course I do.
I feel like that was when you and I became friends in 2010 in a real way. We were obsessive. I think we've said this on the podcast before, but like we would listen to every single episode of How Was Your Week? And she would interview people that we'd heard of, people that we hadn't, journalists, writers, artists, actors, singers, performance artists. And even if you didn't know the person, I feel like I would come away from it being like, oh, I'm into this person. Let me follow that person. Let me go see them in New York. Let me see when they, post a new video or come online or whatever. And I would write show notes of being like, oh, I should write down this person's handle or look up this person's book or read this article. And that was why I started doing the show notes. And I feel like you and I would talk about Julie Klausner's podcast every week because it was people that we were interested in that we didn't know about.
Completely.
And that was the first and maybe only to date podcast that has made me feel that intellectually titillated.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
Okay, so my last two, I'll say the next one is a friend, but I think that they have a podcast. My friend Jess Rothschild, who has a podcast, Hot Takes and Deep Dives,
yes.
because she's a lesbian, but she also loves drag and Fire Island and musicals, but also loves the L Word and like 90s queer cinema, and is a New Yorker and like a proud like lesbian and
has the same level of enthusiasm that we do,
and also a similar age. So I feel like it's like, and as a person who does research, so I feel like if I had to choose someone like tomorrow who I thought like would agree, I feel like she would do it, and I think she would do it a bang up job.
This is such a great call. She's so brilliant and has the same interest level of like
our Venn diagrams. I think are pretty tight.
Yes,
pretty much.
Totally.
Final person.
Okay.
Meredith Vieira.
You know I love her. I screamed. I'm so sorry.
Because I feel like what you always said about Meredith Vieira. Now I said I wasn't going to qualify, and I've qualified all of them. What I loved about Meredith Vieira is what you like. You transpose this opinion onto me, which I don't love when that happens because sometimes I don't want to be like a weak-willed woman. I want to be like
right. Don't call yourself a woman.
But you once said that like she had the thing that like not a lot of people have, which is that ability to like report news, but also like the warmth and like levity that you need to do a morning show. And I feel like that is what I would want from. It's like neither of us are aspiring to be journalists here, but what we want to do is mix like really good research with like really like and that has pathos and there's emotion and personalized stories behind it, mixed with like idiocy and fun and comedy and like specificity that is specific to us and our relationship and New York City. So I feel like what Meredith brings is like she would be like researched and well researched, but also like she would be able to like lean in and be funny, and that's what I want.
Such a good call. And I just like, I want to call our listeners' attention to my favorite Meredith Vieira clips, one of which is like her on the Today Show playing like a video game in an arcade where she says fuck on the Today Show. And then one where she's interviewing a child talking about being bullied and the child says cunt and about how somebody called her a cunt. And then she is like, who, it's 7:42 a.m. and I have
someone
to
says that word?
A child says cunt on the Today Show.
Wait, I don't have never seen that.
She's like a 12-year-old and she's talking about being bullied and how horrible her
I know it.
They like cut back to Meredith and it's Meredith trying to pivot and be like acknowledge it but also move on. I'm like, oh, she is such a pro.
I forgot about that whole story about those like girls that were bullied.
Yeah.
Yes, amazing.
They were maybe actually the bullies. They were maybe the villains.
They were the bullies. They were the bullies, if I remember correctly. Yes.
Oh my God, probably somebody died in it, but it was probably some horrible story.
We're gonna look it up.
We're gonna put it in the show notes, but such a good callback to Meredith Vieira. Yeah, I feel like she has what we both want. She's a broad.
She's a broad. She's for sure a broad.
Okay. Damian's handing me something.
Yeah, you're going to ask the next question.
Okay. Oh my God. If you had to interview a straight white male actor on your show, who would you both agree to have on?
Oh, agree. Okay. I don't think
Okay.
That's good.
Agree is such a good question, listener. Thank you so much. Also, straight is the question mark because I think I know who the white male that we aren't going to qualify their sexuality is that we would both agree on.
Oh, wait. A gay white man that we would interview?
No, I'm not saying this person is gay. I'm saying I can't say if they're straight or gay.
Oh, interesting. It's probably the same person I was thinking of, but I thought we could say he was straight.
1, 2, 3. John Travolta.
Oh, that's so funny. That's literally who I was thinking of, and I was like, what are you going to say? I was like, Harvey Firestein? Right. But like, John Travolta for sure.
I think, of course it's John Travolta.
Wait, I'm into having a backup plan, though, for if we're under...
Okay,
if we're living,
a man that is like 1,000%, no question.
Because you have a fucking long ass list of like men you care about. I think I have men that I think are attractive, but like less that I would like want to talk to.
Right, but like
okay, I have one who I think is straight
that you would want to talk to.
I mean, in the context of this podcast, yes.
Straight white man that we both agree.
Well, I don't know if you would agree. I think you would be like,
Let's hear it.
Wallace Shawn.
Oh, Damian, yes, I love that. Guess what?
Because he's a character actor and he's a playwright and he's like super smart. He's also seems to have good politics.
He has great politics. He was just outside the White House saying Jews call for a ceasefire, and he is friends with Madhur Jaffrey. They are like when we had
right, they had a dinner party just recently.
I think they're like very old friends.
Isn't also now that I know, do we think about this at the time that Madhur Jaffrey is Sakina Jaffrey's mother?
Yes.
So wasn't Wallace Shawn in Splat, the episode with Kristen Johnson, where she falls out the window and Sakina is there? We talked about it and it's a Rockettes. I'm sorry, did we ever put this together?
Did we miss that when we spoke to Madhur?
I gotta look it up.
I loved both of them so much.
Same.
Wallace Shawn is such a good call.
I just think he's like, if we were doing this show and it was reversed for men.
Here's a man that I feel like is in the same category as a Wallace Shawn. New Yorker, director, theater rat, Austin Pendleton.
Oh my God.
Right? The original
Muppets Take Manhattan, babe.
Yeah, oh my God, that's right. And also the Taylor
Mottle.
Yeah, he's the original.
We love.
Yeah. I feel like both of those white men, they're welcome. They're 1,000% welcome. Is there anybody else? I have one more that I think is a shared, and I've said it before, but I'll say it once more. John Goodman.
Yeah, completely.
Because you're a Roseanne fanatic.
We love Roseanne, despite all of the things. We love it still.
Yeah.
It's still, we're still allowed to.
But do you care about John Goodman separate from Roseanne, or not at all?
I do, because of the Big Lebowski, the Flintstones. Also, he's in Raising Arizona, right?
Is he?
I believe he is. I
forget.
can't remember. I'm sorry to say.
I forget too.
It's funny because I would consider that one of my favorite movies, and I don't remember.
How do you feel about Nicolas Cage?
He would not make the list.
No. Oh, no, he's not on the list. I'm just saying, how do you feel about him?
Sorry if Ronnie's eating dinner in the background, whatever. I feel like I don't think he's not a talented person, but I don't care about him.
Yeah. I'm kind of I want to see that new movie with him that seems like adaptation, but not. I kind of want to see that.
I love adaptation.
Me too. I love Chris Cooper, but he's not a white man that I need to have on the show. He's not a white man that I need to have on the show. Okay. Hold on. Okay. I'd like you to comment on the Ashlyn Harris, Sophia Bush situation.
Oh my God. Well, and give everyone a little backstory in case they don't know.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Sophia Bush was on One Tree Hill. She's a brunette actress that has long had a series of, two of our close lesbian friends are long obsessed with Sophia Bush. And I didn't understand that Sophia Bush had a lesbian following for years.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. Is it the raspy voice? What was it?
I mean, she's a cute brunette. She's fine, but I didn't know that lesbians in particular. But she has had lesbian adjacent friendships for a number of years that have grown online. Ali Krieger and Ashlyn Harris are two NWSL soccer players that Ali Krieger was a star. Ashlyn Harris was a sub-star replacement goalie, and she retired first. Ali Krieger just finished her her entire career. She won the championship. Had an incredible run with the New York, New Jersey, Gotham FC. They were a lesbian super couple, and they were married. They got traded to Gotham together. They bought a house in New Jersey. They adopted 2 kids together. So they were very much the face of lesbian soccer in the way that Sue Bird and Megan Rapinoe were the lesbian face of, I don't know, women's sports before that, the merging of the WNBA and the NWSL. Anyway, Ashlyn Harris and Ali Krieger were lesbian soccer players, friends with Sophia Bush, who was married to a man. Sophia Bush and Ashlyn Harris seem to have gotten quite chummy. And the day that Ali Krieger was having her announcement of her retirement and her last game, Ashlyn Harris leaked the divorce papers so that overshadowed Ali Krieger's final sort of finale of her entire multi-year career.
I don't think I knew that part. That's so ick.
It's super dark.
Yuck.
It's super dark. And Sophia Bush was a mutual friend who was in a married partnership with a man. Ashlyn and Ali have 2 kids living in New Jersey. They moved to Montclair. And the next thing you know, Ali is posting online I'm in my lemonade era, and Ashlyn and Sophia Bush have a People exclusive that's we're on our first date. So somebody on the publicist team was you guys have to just
clean this up.
You guys have to
get
just
ahead
say
of the
that
story.
you're on a date, which seems so fucked up because it's who cares? but it really blew up, and the internet is definitely on Ali Krieger's side. And Ashlyn Krieger is sort of the trash heap that has turned off her comments on Instagram.
Oh, wow.
And she has this new jewelry partnership that she tried to launch, which is obviously like on the heels of Ali's retirement or whatever. But because she has her comments turned off on Instagram because everybody's like, you're a fucking loser, nightmare, cheater, horrible human. And who knows, maybe the truth lies somewhere in between. But based on
the optics aren't great.
The optics are not great. And this poor jewelry company that decided to team up with Ashlyn Harris, like literally has no good press from Ashlyn Harris, like wearing her chains. I'm like, oh my God, this is so rough. And Sophia Bush, I'm like, meanwhile, like, you chose wrong, baby. They both divorced. Sophia Bush divorced her husband and was like, I'm on a date with Ashlyn Harris. And I was like, you really did not glow up. You know, like everybody is on Ali Krieger's side. And at first I wanted to be on Ashlyn's side because I feel like Ali is like very all-American girl and is more femme presenting, and the like, I just feel like people were on her side to begin with, but I was like, I don't think I can be on Ashlyn Harris's side. I feel like she co-ops Black culture and is kind of obnoxious and irritating. And Sophia Bush, I think, just got herself in the wrong mix. I think Sophia Bush wanted to be fucking women, but couldn't quite figure it out and chose wrong.
Tell me about their fashion real quick.
Ashlyn Harris is like a bleach blonde with a pompadour, which like otherwise I could get into, but there's too many rings and chains for me to get involved.
Got it. Okay.
You know, it's like not my aesthetic. And Ali Krieger isn't either. She's not my thing. I like can appreciate that somebody likes a sweet all-American brunette, but like I just feel like everybody has rallied behind
Wasn't
her.
she like wearing like a top hat on a red carpet? Like you and
no, that's Ashlyn. That's Ashlyn Harris. That's Ashlyn Harris.
Because you were talking about like the stylist and like one of them trying to like dress the other.
Oh no, that's Sue Bird and Megan Rapinoe.
Oh okay. That's a story for another day. We'll get to that. Okay, next question here. I think this one I don't have an answer to. I think my answer to this is no, but I'll be curious to see if you have a different answer. This one might just be a yes or a no. Your guests always seem surprised, delighted when you bring up an obscure credit. But are there outliers? Has any guest ever said, I'll be on your show, but please don't bring up XYZ? Thank you so much. To me, this was like such a compliment when I read it. But I can't, like, I think that we've like shocked people, maybe embarrassed people. Yeah. But I can't ever think of an explicit, like, don't bring that up or I don't want to talk about that. Like, no. Certainly not prior to the interview. No. But I don't think even in the moment anyone's ever been like people have been like, oh my God, I don't even remember that. But you know us, we'll be like, hold on, we need to ask this next follow-up question.
Right.
Do you remember that Nell Carter was there?
I feel like such a great question. Thank you for taking the time, because I feel like we really do try to find at least one credit that Damian and I are both deeply invested in, that we both want to talk about, that the actress maybe doesn't get asked about on the regular. And that is always like trying to find that sweet spot. And it's like, if one of us is into it, great, they get to pitch that. But it's like the goal is to find one that we're both super into that nobody gets asked.
I'll say, like, I don't think this is telling tales out of school. Like, there's usually like, okay, so if the person is like a theater actor, it's like, is there a film or a TV project where like they are centerpiece?
Yeah.
And we'll try to find that. And like sometimes we'll find an indie and we'll be like, we love it, or we'll be like, oh, we're not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it depends. And then I feel like other times, like we saw the theater, something that they were in theater together, separately. With a film or TV actor, sometimes it's like, oh, like they did this pilot of this show that like, can we get someone we interviewed was in a pilot that we were able to find on YouTube, but that didn't go to series, that was essentially like a golden age of Hollywood sitcom.
Yeah, that was somebody with Jean Smart as the star.
No,
right?
I think you're thinking of Nancy McKean's show where she was like the producer of No, you're right.
Jean Smart was like an old Hollywood star.
And it was almost like an All About Eve type of vibe, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember who that was. We will put it in the show notes, or we'll figure it out by the time we end recording.
Was it Jean Smart?
I think you're right that Jean Smart was the other star. And this person was, I don't know if they were a supporting person or they were a series regular. Yeah. But like that is always the goal. And like when Marianne Plunkett was a guest, she had this like great like little New York indie that she was about like a mom who was like basically, if my memory serves me correctly, in a a manic depressive episode or going through a bipolar episode. And it was like a great like little slice of life. And she gave a great performance in this like very tiny, low budget film that was so great. Like the film was good and she was great in it. And I feel like we always kind of come to the table like now that we're in the rhythm of that, sometimes it will be like, hey, we're interviewing Angelina Jolie tomorrow. What is the thing?
Foxfire.
Yeah, like we need
with Jenny Shimizu.
No, it would be My Heart. What is it?
Oh, Playing by Heart. Very important.
That would be it.
With Madeline Stowe, Gillian Anderson, Jon Stewart, Ryan Phillippe,
like,
of course.
Like what is the piece that we're going to talk about that they're not haven't been asked about before or not recently that we also either have a personal connection to or is like so in our Venn diagram that we can't not like use our hour with them to get one question out. Like I remember with Dot Marie Jones, she had played like a trans man on a Ryan Murphy pilot that never went to series. Yes. And we couldn't even find it. But we did all this research about what we knew. And it was
with Robert Wagner.
And Niecy Nash. And we were like, oh my God, how do we find this? And our friend Nick Coburn told us he has been on the hunt for us, like on a torrent site. And God, I love you so much. But that was like, how do we not talk about, like, not only are you playing a trans man, and that is like, it was before the reckoning of like people who are of an identity playing an identity. 1, 2, it was like in this piece that was pre her fame, and also with people like Robert Wagner and Niecy Nash and other Ryan Murphy, like, you know, regulars.
Jolie Richardson or something along those lines. Yeah.
But that is like what we're searching for. So to answer the listener's question, the anonymous question, no one has ever said no, don't bring up a credit. But I thank you for like bringing up the question because like just like my own like self-indulgent part of me, I think we feel very pleased about that. And it is the thing, like in the 11th hour, there have been interviews where we're like, we still need
we need the thing.
We still need the thing.
And then every once in a while it's like it happens and we're like, fuck yes.
Yeah, it's like it happens and it feels so good. And like I would say it's rare that we don't go in with a thing.
Right. And I will say, if an actress has agreed to the interview, we have not experienced that. There are a number of actresses that have been intrigued or their management has been intrigued, but they will say, here are the parameters. Yes, we will do the interview or we would love to set up the interview, but you can't talk about her famous husband. Yeah. Okay, so we're talking about the same person. Yeah.
Yeah, and that hasn't happened yet, but...
And we're like, great, we want to talk about your musical career.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about Tom Hanks. So
and we will not talk about Chet. We will not talk about Chet. I think those are the people that say no are the ones that have the parameters. And as a sidebar, I think one of the things that is very interesting about cold calling or cold emailing actors is that the A-listers, their people always respond with a very kind no. It is literally like, thank you so much for thinking of Toni Collette for this. Is Toni Collette A-list? She's probably not. But like, thank
Sarah
you,
Jessica Parker.
Thank you for thinking of SJP for this. Incredible.
She'd love to. She's such a fan.
She's out of the country for 17 years. You're like, okay, what a great no. Thank you for that. But it's interesting because the people that we're looking to.
I'm not going to say a name because we actually ended up getting this interview. But do you remember? I was like LOLing to myself today because I was sending out some emails yesterday. And I emailed somebody and they were like, yeah, she'd be interested. Like, and then I was like, great. Can you let us know like when would be good? And if like she would want to do this in person or remotely. I actually can't remember what the question was, but they said, how many more questions are you going to ask me?
And their name was like Daybed. You know what I mean? Their name is always like Daybed. Their name is not a real name. And they have so much frustration with our 2 questions. Oh, God. What a world. Okay.
Anne's going to ask this next question.
Okay. Is there a feud between Lisa Whelchel and Mindy Cohn?
Oh, my God. I forget that we have, like, facts of life people. I appreciate you so much.
So much.
I don't believe there is.
I don't think so. I think they're fine.
I think they're all good. Like, they're all family. But it's like we were just talking about friends, right, from, like, different friends from different parts of your life and like people that you're like, I'm not close with them, but I love them.
Yeah.
Maybe they all have that relationship.
Right.
They're like cousins or sisters.
And I think Mindy did tell us that she did watch Survivor. Like she is
and
invested.
They all appeared.
Lisa Whelchel was literally one of the best Survivor contestants I've ever seen on the show.
I didn't watch her season, which is so crazy.
Damian, what the fuck? We were literally watching so much Survivor during the pandemic, but Lisa Whelchel is such a good Survivor contestant. She is extremely religious, but I found her story to be very captivating. Very captivating. And I feel like, there was a lot of stuff because on The Facts of Life, hers was the story where Blair was supposed to lose her virginity and then she didn't want it. And so they gave it to, like, Mindy was like, I'll take that storyline. Right. And so Mindy took that, and all for the better. But I didn't read that there was a feud at all.
I'm going to do some research after the fact, because we were reading these blindly going in. So I feel like, truly, and I feel like, I wonder if like Lisa hasn't been on Mindy's pod or wasn't on. I know Mindy had a podcast for a while. I know like Kim was on it, and I know that they're very tight.
Yeah, she and Kim are close.
But also know like Kim and Nancy went to see like Michael McDonald in concert.
That.
So like I know that there are different like groups, and I don't know where Lisa like operates in there. Honestly, this is just motivation to put her at the top of our post-strike list now, because we have The Facts of Life and Survivor going into it, and it gives me a reason to catch up on that old season.
Totally. And if you think we haven't tried Kim Fields a billion times,
we've tried all
Kim
four.
Kim Fields is extremely important to us, but maybe we got to prioritize Lisa Whelchel so we can get the hard facts. Okay. What was your last Instagram search? Be honest.
Oh, okay, I'll be honest. I'm gonna let you read mine.
Okay, hold on. I have to look at mine.
I'm into it. Sorry, Ronnie's eating a Kong now. I'm just gonna keep updating back with background noise.
Oh no, mine is not good.
Can I read yours?
Yeah.
West Side Waifs. What is that?
It's a dog rescue that our friend Kale. That's not fun.
She doesn't even have a dog.
That's not fun.
It's so interesting. You're more of a dog person than I am.
The pandemic changed me. This is embarrassing. I'm not into this. O-Town Official? Oh yeah, because somebody posted that really sad video of them performing at a state fair.
Yeah, I saw it too, and I don't know. I was like,
oh.
But I was like, I would go.
What was his name? Ashley
Parker Angel. I think he's the one who's he left the group.
No, he's back in because he was at that state fair.
Are you sure?
Yes, there were four of them. There's the fifth one was not in it. No, he looked like he was in it.
I don't think he's there, Ann.
Oh, so Jacob and the rest. Jacob was the
Trevor. You like Jacob?
I like Jacob and Trevor. Oh no. Trevor, I liked.
Trevor was
cute and little.
That's white dreadlocks you're thinking of.
Jacob has the dreadlocks.
Oh, okay, then Trevor you liked, who was like mixed race.
Yeah.
And then there
Jacob
was
is
Dan, who I loved. He had great lips.
Dan looked like Dan in New Kids on the Block too. Like he looked like Danny in New Kids on the Block. They're like the same type of Dan.
Right. Danny from New Kids on the Block has more of like a masculine, like East Coast.
Who is your favorite New Kids? Well, they're all East Coast.
Are they? I don't even know.
And KOTB.
Yeah, they weren't my boy band. So
they're
I don't even
Boston, I think. Aren't they Boston?
Oh, it makes sense. Like it was Don the Wahlbergs. Yeah.
Right. I think I probably loved what's his face, Jordan, but really
the gay one.
No, that's Jonathan.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Jonathan.
He's nobody's favorite. Sorry to say. It's sad how the
he
gay
has
ones
like
are
a
often,
HGTV show.
Ones.
Yeah, the gay ones are not. But no, I think in hindsight, I like Joey because Joey's a Broadway boy.
Yeah, I think
Joey McIntyre's sweet. He seems sweet.
I would have said Joey, but now I'm thinking about Danny, and I'm like,
now
maybe it is.
I think you're a Danny in a boy band, and I'm a Joey because I love Joey Fatone and Joey McIntyre.
And I love Dan Miller, I think his name is, from O-Town, and Dan whatever his name is from NKOTB.
I don't know his last name.
Okay, interesting. Because
they're a little bit more muscle bound, and I like a little sweet face on a boy. If I'm going to look at a boy, I'd like him to have a sweet face. I love
that question. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another good one. What is your position on jukebox musicals? Here for it, played out, or never liked them?
Oh, I love that I have a multiple choice. First of all,
I think I'll go first if you don't mind.
Please do.
I feel like it's a case by case basis.
Yes.
I think was I ever here for them? No. Do I think they're played out? Yes. Mm-hmm. But I also can be into them.
Yes.
And I think that I saw Jersey Boys 3 or 4 years after it was a hit, and I was like, listen, I get it. The music is enjoyable, and it moved, and it was great.
That little Frankie, whatever his face is.
The Frankie Valli guy was doing the thing he needed to do.
I was going to say Lyman. That's a different boy group.
That's Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers.
Yeah.
Anyway, I get it, and I feel when done well, enjoyable. I think it's small-minded sometimes, but also we talked about with Dinah Manoff here, I was obsessed with Leader of the Pack, which I had never seen, and I still haven't on stage, But like, I love like great catalogs of music. So like, I'm not mad at Mamma Mia. We talked with Ted Casablanca about how much we loved it. Like, I also remember seeing Mamma Mia on stage and being like, this is so stupid, but also how fun.
The serotonin is off the charts.
Theater doesn't always need to me, theater can be just like movies. It can also be stupid and just like enjoyable. The same way that like I watch like Basketball Wives or Real Housewives of Beverly Hills because they're fun and they're not like, you know, whatever. I think just that it can be fun.
Yeah, but you'll also see Union Square at the Angelica.
I love that it's always a point of reference.
Yeah, and by the way, it's not a good film. It's not a good film.
We never revisited it though, so maybe it is.
It's time.
Do you co-sign my opinion?
I co-sign your opinion 1,000%. I agree 1,000%. I just have to say, it's like, I think what is the thing that we're all fighting against is like ticket prices are $175 for an orchestra seat on Broadway, and that's insane. Like the top ticket price should be $60, and if like we're talking about that every Broadway show is a jukebox musical, it's sad. It's depressing.
I agree with that for sure.
And so I feel like the commercialization of the theater is pretty depressing across the board. And so the fact that it costs so much to make a play, let alone a musical, and that they're doing a lot of musicals with very sparse staging because it's so expensive to make a musical is depressing. And so I'm not going to blame that on legacy artists trying to, you know, pay for their Medicare or whatever, you know, like pay for their old age homes. But I do feel like it is artistically depressing, and not that Broadway was always the peak of artistic integrity, but the fact that there were at least new stories, new librettos attached to, or like new music attached to a movie or a book that you knew, or a play that you knew, or an adaptation that you were interested in pursuing, or brand new material. So anytime there's new material on Broadway specifically, or even in the New York theater period, even if it's shitty, I'm like, I'm not going to say anything bad about it, because if it's coming from something that is not existing IP or a jukebox musical format, then I'm here for it existing, even if it's a piece of shit.
I completely agree. I so appreciate you, because I was just going to say the same thing. It's like, if you are like, I think both of us can be like of an eye roll about
yes.
like,
did I like Dear Evan Hansen? Absolutely not.
Right,
I thought it was
like,
a piece of shit that had bad politics.
But did you love it because it employed Jennifer Laura Thompson?
Yes.
Like, here's the thing. Go see Here Lies Love before it closes. Go see Kimberly Akimbo.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be your cup of tea, but also like they can be really special and wonderful, and also like it's new fucking shit. New stories, new music.
Yes. Does that mean that I hate Mamma Mia? Absolutely not, because that is a joy fest.
I will say
from beginning to end.
And Jersey Boys were both really like so pleasurable.
I never saw either on stage, but I did see the Temptations musical on stage, and it was insane. It was insane what they did on that stage.
In a good way.
I'm not saying it was great, but I'm saying it was wild. Some of the plot development, there was smoking crack on stage. I have never seen that on a Broadway stage, and I was like, this is a plot point.
Jeremy Pope? Tony winner Jeremy Pope?
Jeremy Pope, who's incredible, and Ephraim Sykes and a few other people. But yeah, I think Jeremy Pope is an incredible talent. But the singing and dancing on stage was outrageous, and I had a blast. I'm so glad I saw it. Like, do I think it was the height of art? No, I don't. But am I glad I saw it? Yes. Am I frustrated that the lowest ticket price is $175 for anybody to see a Broadway show? 1,000%. It's offensive. I don't like it. Revive Gypsy for 45 times, and that's still better than a jukebox musical. But I guess, like, if Sheryl Crow's Diner ever gets to Broadway, I will see it. Yeah,
Same.
I will see
Same.
it. I'll see it.
Okay, now I think we're getting to. I have some questions that are maybe not anonymous. This is from Heather in New York.
Okay. If you and Anne could star in a musical together on Broadway, what would it be? 1, 2, 3. Sugar Babies!
If you don't know Sugar Babies, it is...
It's built for us. It's built for us.
It is...
It's a review. It's Ann Miller and Mickey Rooney in the original cast, and then they did it with a variety of replacements, I think. I don't even know what the format is. It's just like...
It's like I think it's considered a review.
Yeah.
And like, Ann can sing. Ann can like carry a tone.
I can hold a tune.
Ann can carry a tune. She has like a nice tone to her voice. She has a little vibrato. She can sing. I can't sing at all. Like I like slide into a note.
Yeah,
I'd have everything.
You could talk, sing, and you can slide into a note.
Everything would have to be in unison.
Yeah,
but like
Bananarama, we are 2-part harmony.
Okay, Clinton from New York asked, Patreon when?
January, babe.
January, babe.
We're working on it. Thank you so much.
Okay, John from Los Angeles said, what's tea with cream cheese cooking? Did it happen? So we did actually make one cream cheese
We did
dish
make one cream cheese
and
dish.
did label this the summer of cream cheese. On hindsight, I'm going to say
it was
a
ambitious.
bad call. It was a bad call to make summer the summer of cream cheese.
That's fair. Maybe this is the winter.
I think it's the winter of cream cheese.
Yeah.
So we did make one. We made a potato scallop dish. I think we documented it here.
Yeah, and I'll bring the crab dip back for winter.
And made a reel of us making cream cheese. Now, I want to emphasize that it is hard sometimes for us to make content for the actual episodes with like actresses that we make, but Anne made a reel for the cream cheese, so go find it.
I spent a lot of time on it.
I appreciate her so much. Oh, this is a good one, also from John from Los Angeles. If you could interview one female cartoon character, who would it be? Oh,
such a great
I didn't even look at this one. This
question.
Is good. Fuck, I may have to come back to it.
I had a really bad first answer that I thought was mutual, but neither one of us liked this person. So
person as a cartoon.
It's a person.
Jessica Rabbit.
Oh no! Oh, it was Jubilee.
Oh, I hate
her.
I don't like when I interview either of them.
I hate her.
I hate Jubilee. I don't hate Jessica Rabbit. If we're going with the
what about Elmira?
Oh, it's perfect. It's great. I love it.
I was thinking Elmira from Tiny Toons.
I love it. It's so true. I was going to say
she seems very for us.
It's also true to the essence of the podcast. I was going to say Connie from Doug. Who had like purple hair,
which we did. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
No, we didn't interview.
No, we interviewed Patty Mayonnaise.
Yeah.
Oh, Connie. Yes. Yeah. Of course, we did interview Connie Shulman.
Okay, Julia. I don't know where Julia's from. Julia Smolia. Favorite lesbian coded straight women.
Julia, such a good.
Okay, just off the top of my head, I don't know that this is right. Holly Hunter?
Oh, yeah, so ropey. I love that.
Like,
and like the piano is so gay. The piano is so gay.
Something in her like body language reads as
me too. Like lesbians love Holly Hunter. Great answer. Okay, so here's my first response, which I think was pretty obvious, was Cate Blanchett.
Oh.
But
I thought you were going to say Juliana Margulies.
Well.
Oh, great. They fucking fucked allegedly.
They allegedly fucked. So that's why I'm not sure that Cate Blanchett is right. I think Cate Blanchett, she has been with her husband, Andrew Upton, for, I don't know, like 20 some years. But there are some decently documented accounts of her potentially having been interested in Juliana Margulies at some point, and whether or not that makes her straight, I'm not sure. But I think Cate Blanchett is an easy answer, and I'd love to go for somebody else. So because I feel like Cate Blanchett maybe has fucked a woman.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You finished college at theater school and a BFA program.
Yeah.
Like, did you know women who fucked women who were not gay? Because, like, I feel like it makes sense to me that, like,
you mean a bisexual actress?
Yeah, like, I just feel like it's like when people are like, what's his name? Who was Bane in Batman?
Tom Hardy.
And they're like, he's bisexual. And it's like, well, he's like a theater person who probably has fucked men, but like...
Well, he said like I have, or I fooled around.
Yeah, and I just feel like that makes sense, but I don't know. Do you know women? I know women who are bisexual or women who like fucked women, but do you know women who like I'm like, oh, Cate Blanchett, of course this fucked women because she's an actor, but it's like, when you think about
not
like,
if she's maybe
actorly people that you know from college, did they're fuck
not
women?
The actorly people that I know from college were not the most sexually adventurous. No. Right? Do you agree?
I think I agree. Yeah, that's why I asked.
I'm going to come back. Julia, I'm going to think about this. Cate Blanchett's too easy. I'm going to come back.
I know. Like, you know what? The other names that keep coming to mind, like Linda Hunt, Lily Tomlin, they're both gay. It's just like so weird. Like that's why I keep thinking of it as
lesbian coded.
Maybe like
like Dakota Johnson. Like Dakota Johnson is lesbian coded, but I actually think she's super straight. I think she's very California. So I think actually maybe Dakota Johnson is my answer because I have love for her. Lesbians love her. I have a very
opposite answer. Go ahead, finish.
Lesbians love Dakota Johnson, and I think that she is smart and funny, and the way that she ragged on Ellen was incredible. But I think if you're dating Chris Martin, or if you're even sleeping next to Chris Martin, I'm sorry, you're straight.
Are they together still?
I don't know. But I think she's lesbian coded, but deeply straight.
My answer was going to be Harriet Sansom Harris. Because I feel like she often plays like authority roles that could be coded as lesbian, but she, to my knowledge,
similarly
is not
Melissa
gay.
Leo.
Yes, great answer.
Yeah.
Yes, great answer.
Yeah.
Great answer.
Yeah.
Who was not, to our knowledge, is not gay.
To our knowledge, was married to John Hurd, and I think is not married.
John Hurd.
Yeah.
Not John Hurt.
No, John Hurt is... No, John Hurd, who's dead.
Home Alone.
William Hurt, also dead, but not married to Melissa Leo.
Both dead. Not Melissa
Yeah,
Leo.
John Hurd from Home Alone, who we loved.
Okay, next question from JT Monologues. I'm not sure where you're from. Tracy Gold or Tracy Chapman?
Tracy Chapman.
Completely.
No question, lesbian. But Tracy Gold, you know,
Also, Tracy Chapman dated Guinevere Turner before we get to this show.
And Alice Walker.
I love that they dated. It's such an interesting relationship.
I just saw that Tracy Chapman was like the first black woman to win like country music television's Song of the Year or some shit, whatever. Like CMA's Song of the Year because that guy covered Fast Car. And I was like, whatever it takes. Just give her all the awards, get her the money, make sure she doesn't have to do anything she doesn't want to do.
Agree.
Hope she gets all the money. Love Tracy Chapman.
Okay, next question from Trana Wintour in Canada.
Yeah.
You're from Quebec?
Yeah.
We love you.
We love you, Trana.
You've asked many actresses on your show about the toxicity of the Desperate Housewives set. Semicolon. Ooh, you know I love it. With all the information you've acquired, what is your assessment?
That's a great question.
I think
I actually spent a lot of time on Terry Hatcher's Instagram this week, so this is really...
Okay, I'll go first so you can formulate your answer.
Okay.
But I would say like my gut response to this, because I didn't read these. I just screenshot that so I wouldn't lose it. I think that it was a lot of egos, and I think like, and I don't even mean that as like in anyone in particular. I think it was just like a big energy set of like first the original four plus Nicolette Sheridan, then it was like, where does what's her name, Dana Delaney and Vanessa Williams and Alfre Woodard and like Drea De Matteo, like where do they all fit into this? So I think it was a lot of ego, and I think that the press probably, like the media attention didn't help, but I just think that like the set was tense and everyone was like living in their own storyline in the show, and I think that translated into the set based on what we've heard.
I think that's right. And I also think that, unfortunately, the show was built upon the sort of back of not even Melrose Place, which was like both male and female drama, but like this idea that the conflict in the show is between these women and it is sexually charged. And it is about like the drama between the women is about like looks and
I thought you were saying that they wanted to have sex.
No. And it's like it's sexually charged in that it is about like the attention of men, and it isn't really about like domestic things in relation to anything besides, like a lot of it was based around.
I don't think that's true. You mean the interpersonal drama, or you mean the drama on the show?
The drama on the show.
Like in the story of the show?
Yeah, the story of the show was...
No, I don't think that they were fighting over men. I disagree with that assessment. I'm sorry.
Interesting.
We rarely disagree, but I don't think that if you're a Desperate Housewives diehard fan, I just don't think that... I think the storylines were really separate in a way that, like, OG Sex and the City, and even late season Sex and the City, like, each woman had a story, and the runner was a way of uniting them, and I don't think that they were often in competition with each other, truly. And maybe Nicolette Sheridan was something different.
Yeah, Nicolette Sheridan, Terry Hatcher, they were pitted against each other.
Women in terms of story from like season 1 through season 5 or 6 like was not about them being in competition with each other.
Interesting. So
I'm sorry my voice is so tired.
We've really been going hard on this, but that's interesting. So I feel like so maybe I'm wrong about that, but I feel like
I think it was
the nature of the media pitching like what it is to have a show with 5 women on it.
Completely.
I do think that had you perhaps had a different person in
showrunner,
Mark Cherry seemed deeply abusive.
Yeah,
he seemed not like the person to have, and he wasn't show running the Golden Girls. So though he worked on the Golden Girls, like I don't think that's what was happening on the Golden Girls set. But I think that had you had a different showrunner, and maybe I don't know, I'm not going to put the blame on Terry Hatcher because I feel like it probably was a multi-actor issue.
Though, you know, my favorite piece of evidence is that like when the show ended, they gave like a gift to the cast of a luggage, and she was like the only person who was not a part of like the cast, like the housewives gift, which is interesting.
It's part of why I spent a lot of time on her Instagram lately, which is mostly about her daughter and not focused on her acting career. But I do think Terry Hatcher was a star.
I completely agree. Okay, next question is from Bridget in LA.
Would you move to LA for the right quote unquote role?
Role?
I think that maybe like using role as like a job.
Yeah, job, I would, for the right job, yes. Temporarily, but never permanently.
That's how I feel. Temporarily. I feel like
if you want to pay me.
Yeah, Bridget, do you want to pay me?
Yeah, Bridget, I'll take the money. I will take the money and run, but I will never not come back to New York because I fundamentally feel, and maybe some people that move to LA feel this way when they move there from New York, but I do feel like I'm fundamentally a New York person, though I'm a Midwesterner at heart. I just think that my rhythms and my energy and my heart is in New York City.
I feel the same way, and I think that I'll probably die here, but also like I feel like lockdown made me realize that I could be elsewhere and that like that could also be
We'd
okay.
all benefit from space and
that
air.
And that I also don't need to like, I think there's a part of me that has too much, speaking of ego, like there's like a part of me that feels like it's important to be here. But I feel like there's a version where like if my life is happy elsewhere, that's also okay.
Yeah.
I don't foresee that being LA though. Like I saw a post, I was in my O-Town fucking hole and I saw that I think Jacob or Trevor, I forget which one is which, but one of them lives in Nashville now with their like wife, and I was like, oh, do people live in Nashville? And like he lives there and tours and like does like the millennial tours, but then like lives in Nashville, and I was like, that might be nice.
Right.
Like I could see myself living elsewhere, but I love New York and I do not foresee the place being Los Angeles.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that we've been lucky enough to feel like a lot of people that we feel love for and artistically aligned with have decided to stay in New York, and that also makes a big difference.
Last question I have.
Go.
From Dee Dee in New York. Hi, Dee Dee.
Hey, baby.
You might know her from Mount Rushmore of previous guests and or dream guests.
Wow.
So that's four, right?
Yeah.
Do we want to decide on maybe previous?
Let's do previous, and then we could do potential. We'll see if we want to get to the other.
Okay, great. So I think, let's see. Previous guests.
Oh, wow.
We might have to edit the thinking out, but I'm going to think. Okay,
yeah, me too.
So
are you going to try and come up with four? Or are you just going to name?
I was going to think of four, but do you want me to say them out loud, and that way we can riff off each other? Yeah, let's do that.
I have two that I feel like for me like came to top of mind.
Okay, Jessica Hecht.
Oh. Lainey Kazan.
Oh. Who was your other?
Anna Maria Horsford.
Oh. Vicki Lewis?
Oh, that was good. We got to go backstage.
So those are, we should just agree on the ones that came right to mind?
Yeah, those came right to mind. The other people that came to mind that I felt like we jived with and that I felt like we had like a real conversation with, Anna Ortiz.
Yes, that was next one on my list.
Caroline Aaron.
Yes.
We talk about that interview constantly where I feel like you and I talk about being challenged by someone who we don't necessarily agree with, but we are in conversation with. And I feel like the Caroline Aaron interview, who we think is she's such a brilliant actor, but we had a disagreement with her, and I felt like she engaged with it in a way that was so respectful and interesting, and I feel like that's what we're trying to get at on this podcast.
I agree. Another person I would add on that other short list would be like Rachel Harris, who another person I thought we vibed with. We like yes and it was fun. I feel like we had like real conversation, but it also was fun, and I feel like again, it's what we're going for. Also, and I think like so important because it was one of our first ones, Daphne Rubin Vega.
Oh, she was
Dr. Pepper, the Obama incense, Rocky Horror. Like, we just had so much good energy, and that was in person, too, so it's, like, so special.
I know, and I feel like, the goal is for us to get back to in-person interviews, and I feel like we've had so many of those where we feel like we got to something so special. I feel like recently, I mean, this was not Dee Dee's question, but I feel like Angelica Ross, we had such, like, an incredible, like, far-reaching conversation with, and I feel like it's hard to find, virtually leaves a little bit something to be desired. But like when we get a chance to do back in person with people, I feel like who is going to be that person that's going to let us back in the wheelhouse?
You'd like to say we got something crackling.
It's crackling.
That's one of your words.
It's crack-a-lackin'. Folks.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for being here. I mean, I hope this wasn't, I don't want to qualify this as saying like, oh my God, I don't want this to be self-indulgent, but like it was such a joy, and I feel I guess humbled and like pleased that I feel like the people who wrote questions understand what we are putting down, and like I feel like very excited and pleased, and I hope that you were pleased with it too, and maybe we'll do another one of these sometime. But next month, we will be back here with an actress interview.
Ooh, one that we have been teasing that really knocked our socks off. Somebody that we had been courting from the very beginning of You Might Know Her From, and somebody that finally said yes to us. And she was, let's just say, on Broadway this summer.
Yeah.
She's in London right now. And she is a legend in many formats.
Completely.
Woo!
So we hope that you are having a wonderful start to your holiday season, whether you are staying home, self-care, seeing friends, seeing no one, seeing family, eating well. We hope that you're just taking care of yourself.
We're both, I'm not even going to get too specific, but Damian and I are really trying to take care of ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like we are both on the track to really just, life is hard. If you're struggling this holiday season or this year in general, we feel you, and thank you for being here with us. This has been really lovely and fun, and sometimes it's just good enough to keep your head above water. And so thank you for joining us back here. This is like really, truly, without trying to be too on the nose, it is a blessing to be back here. I love it. I love doing this.
And we love you, so we're going to do our credits now. Please leave us a review if you haven't done so. If you're listening to this like hour-long episode of just Ann and I hope that means that you have left us a 5-star review wherever you're listening to this podcast, but also in the Apple Podcast app, because that's kind of where it matters the most, to my understanding. Mm-hmm. And please leave us a written review. It means the most. We are an independently produced podcast. We've been doing this for almost over 5 years. We love doing it, but it really helps us bump in the algorithm and just helps new people find us. And we want to find more like-minded people just like you.
And if you want to find videos of Barbra Streisand and Liz Smith, you've got to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Follow us on all mediums at Damian Bellino. That's Damian with an A. And Rodeman. That's RODEMANNE. And of course, you can follow You Might Know Her From on TikTok and Instagram. That's where we're posting photos and videos and content of actresses that we've had, actresses that we'd love to have, and actresses that are dead that we'll never have. Join us there.
You Might Know Her From is produced by us. That's Ann Rodeman and Damian Bellino. We also want to thank our consultants at Grumpy Entertainment. They are the lifeblood of this podcast. They help us keep going. They help us stay motivated. They help us stay on track. They help us stay on plot. So that's Jason Jude Hill and Daniel Sears, and all of that silky smooth editing you also hear is by the incomparable and very talented Daniel Sears.
Obviously, special thanks to Gang. Each and every piece of music that you hear on all the episodes of You Might Know Her From is courtesy of Gang. You can download and stream Gang wherever you listen to your music.
What was I saying before the show and you said save it for the show?
Oh, bots.
Oh my God. So every day I get a text message just like, hey. And I always like, now I know it's a bot, but I'll always say like, hi. Yeah. Now I say, hi, who is this? Or like, hi, I don't have this number. And they'll be like, this is Julie. Is this not Lena? Or like, this is Amanda. Is this no longer Rebecca's phone? And now, you know what I say?
What?
Fuck off, you faggot. Or I'll be like, you stupid cunt. And they'll always be like
LOL.
They don't know how to respond. Like they start to unravel.
Right.
Today I said, fuck off. And she sent a question mark. But yesterday.
So who is it? What is it?
Do you know who are the bots? Remember they used to sometimes would send selfies?
Oh, yeah. That's the first time that I got it.
I haven't received any selfies
I would get
recently.
like a picture of a woman with a cat. And I was like, who is this? And then I would engage. But I just thought this is getting extremely specific. I wanted to tell you that I got a message on our anonymous questions that was like, Anne, was that you in the beige trench coat? Are you very tall? At 181, I was gonna say hello, but I didn't. And I was like, wow. Yes, listener, I am very tall and I do own a beige trench coat now.
I am speechless.
So I don't know who this is because it was anonymous. But have you ever gotten a DM like that where you're like, was that you? Like, I feel like it was like a missed connection on Craigslist, you know?
Yeah, I guess I have, but it's been more like on Grindr or something.
I used to search the missed connections.
Like, were you at this bar?
Did you ever get that and then respond?
On a missed connection or on like a Grindr?
Either.
Yeah, I guess on Grindr people will be like, were you at Pieces last night? And you're like... Yeah, I was. And it's like, but like, say hello, you know?
Right.
Misconnections, I did used to search them, but I don't think, I did post a couple, but I don't think I ever...
That was always
got one.
God, I know. I mean, I think that's the thing that is the lost joy of
Didn't
the internet.
Jeremy fuck somebody who was a misconnection?
What?
I think Jeremy fucked one of his misconnections.
Oh, okay. Well, that is literally the dream.
You know, he was so pleased with himself.
Jeremy, fucking tell me, what the fuck? I'm jealous.
Me too.
I'm jealous of that.